You know, they're always talking about if you have a 51% win rate, then eventually you'll climb. Do you know how long it'll take you to climb if you had a 51% win rate? Well, I kind of did the math because I was a little bored. And so I'm gonna make some assumptions. One, you get 1000 SR, that's the amount you're trying to get. A lot of people are trying to get from bronze to gold. A lot of people are trying to get from gold to diamond. A lot of people are trying to get 2 ranks above their current skill tier. Is that just a trend, I guess? Anyway, so you're trying to gain 1000 SR. And another assumption I'm gonna make is that you gain like 25 SR per win and you lose 25 SR per loss. If you don't even know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about SR, before they had the stupid Diamond 1, Diamond 2 system, they had the SR system, and the way that rank works is basically a convoluted way of the Diamond SR system. So essentially, Diamond 1 is Diamond 1 and Diamond 2 is 100 SR, Gold 1 to Plat 1 is 500 SR, Gold 1 to Diamond 1 is 1000 SR. Alright, so let's get started. So I did the equation for this. I'll throw it on screen. And this, I know you're seeing graph. Don't get scared. It's just a graph. But along this graph, the left side of the parentheses shows the win percentage, and the right side of the parentheses shows the number of games that you would need in order to gain 1000 SR. So at about 51%, as you get closer to 51%, you actually get closer to about 2000 SR, which is what you would need at 51%. In order for you to gain, it's so narrow. There we go. In order for you to actually gain the 1000 SR that you need. And as you get closer to 55%, which is more typical for people who are playing heroes that they're really good at their rank, it's so narrow. I want to show the exact point. Give me the exact point. There we go. At 55%, you'll gain, it'll take about 400 games. 400 games! I'm gonna take about 25 to 30 minutes. I'll be nice. I'll say 25 minutes per game. That's what? 1,000 minutes? That's 1,000 minutes? 100? No, that's 10,000. 10,000 minutes. That's 10,000 minutes? Yeah, no, that's 10,000 minutes. 60 minutes per pop. 6,000 minutes would be 100 hours. That's roughly 200 hours, right? That's not too many. Wait, break out the calculator. Oh my god. 166 hours at a 55% win rate to climb 1000 SR. And you gotta maintain that win rate throughout your entire time upwards. 166 hours. I can play a JRPG. Super Mario RPG is about to come out. It hasn't come out yet, so maybe I can get that 166 hours in. But why do I make this graph that shows that it takes a convoluted amount of time for people to get to where they want to go, even if they have a pretty decent win rate? Even at 60%, it's still 200 games, which is still like 80 hours worth of time. And at 70%, it's 100 games, which is still 40 hours worth of time for you to get to where you want to get to. The reason I make this is because I think it's more important for you to just focus on your performance rather than focusing on the fact that you're not where you want to be yet. And I think the ultimate point that I'm trying to make here is that if you have a positive win percentage, that is all that matters. And just focus on keeping your positive win percentage up and doing what you got to do in order to maintain that. You will climb eventually, and you just need to put in the games. If you couldn't tell, this video is more for me than it is for you. Have a good day. Alright, so I'm going to explain the equation that I came up with earlier in the video. We're going to start with the numerator. This is 1000. This is the SR amount that you're trying to reach. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1000. It can be any amount of SR, but I put it at 1000 because most people are trying to get from the bottom of gold to the bottom of diamond. Second part I'm going to explain is the X minus 50. This gets paired with the 100. The 100 is the sample size of our games. So I'm going to assume that you're tracking your percentage over 100 games. It doesn't have to be 100, it can be any number that you want it to be. But what's important is that if you want to keep track of the percentage of games that you've won, you want to keep track of that percentage over 50. Now, why do I say over 50? We all know that if you have a 50% win rate, you're not climbing. So this creates a situation where we know that 50% means you will need infinite W's in order to climb. And you can't achieve infinite W's, so this is actually just a trick. You might as well just not play the game at all. Anytime you have an equation that comes out to infinity, you already know you're going to have to deal with an asymptote. I have this asymptote labeled here in this demos thing as the 50% point. You can see the graph right here. The asymptote, it exists. And this is why I have the x minus 50 in the denominator. Whenever you have an asymptote, that means you're dividing some value by 0. This is the only way you can get infinity. As far as I know, I'm not a mathematician. There's probably a whole bunch of other ways you can get infinity, but this is the one that I know, so I'm going to use this one. 0 in the denominator equals 50. So if I won 50 games and I lost 50 games, well, I would put 50 into this x value, and this would be 0, which means you'd be dividing by 0, you'd get your infinity, it would take you infinity games. Congratulations. What I care about is actually how many games over 50 you have actually won. So if I win 51 out of 49, 51 out of 100, which means I lost 49 out of 100, then I'll have a difference of 2 games. And that means I would have gained twice the amount of SR I'm expected to gain. For this video, I used 25 SR, which would be 50. So this 2 is actually important because if you have a 51% win rate, this is going to be 2. But if you have a 52% win rate, you have 48, 52. This is actually 4. With every percentage point that you increase, you actually double the amount of absolute wins that you have in the game. So that double is shown here with this 2. And we expect to get 25 SR per win. And that's why I have 25 SR. I'm using units here because these units cancel each other out. That's where this equation comes from. 100 is our sample size. X over 50 is our win percentage, in a way. At 25 SR is the amount of SR that we expect to get. And obviously with every win percentage that you increase, you double the amount of absolute wins that you have. That's where this 2 comes from. And the 1000 SR is the amount of SR that we want to reach, or we want to climb. Like I said, we have an asymptotic equation, which means the closer that we get to 50%, the closer to infinity we will be getting. I got it all the way up to 500, but honestly, we could zoom out as far as we want. This graph will never, ever, ever, ever touch the blue line. And if you have I can't even click it. I can't even click it. It's too close. Go back down. If you have like a 51% win rate, or something that's getting closer and closer to 51%, you get closer and closer to needing 2,000 games. Obviously, if you have a 100% win rate and you're getting 25 SR, it's just how many games do you need to climb 1,000 SR? Here is the negative numbers, where if you fall below 50%, this is how quickly you'll lose 1,000 SR if you like losing SR. So if you have a a 0% win rate, you'll lose 1,000 SR in about 40 games. Again, if you made it to this part of the video and you made it all the way through the end through my boring math explanation, I salute you. And you can vary up this equation to how much you think, how much SR you're going to gain on average or whatever. You can put it in 20 and you want to gain 800. You can put it in, you think you're going to gain 30 and you need to gain 3,000 SR for some reason. But it just puts into perspective how many games it's going to take, which I think is why it's more important that you just play the game and try to do the best that you can. Oh, if you like the video, what's the thing you do? Oh, if you like the video, you like and then you subscribe, right? Yeah, you should do that. Thank you.